It is not calories in versus calories out for weight gain, especially when it comes to a woman that has hormonal issues. Myths like that are what are actually stopping you from losing that body fat and keeping it off in the easiest possible way. I am a professional nutritionist that has helped thousands of women melt their body fat without counting calories or taking supplements. I'm a published author, and I do this for a living. So I want to teach you the myths that are holding you back, and more importantly, what you can do to actually get rid of that belly once and for all. Let's dive in. Number 7 is that it's just calories in versus calories out. And this is a load of crap. You're not a dingus, and you already know this is true, because if you've ever eaten like one little bite of some type of carbs and then gained 2 pounds, that like 100 calories of that bite did not magically become 7,000 calories of body fat. Like, that doesn't even make sense. You cannot break the laws of thermodynamics. It's so funny how people say, you can't break the laws of thermodynamics, and then immediately say something that would break the laws of thermodynamics. It doesn't make any sense. The vast majority of weight gain for women is a form of inflammation called cellular fire, and that's where you eat a little bit and you gain a lot of weight, not because that is turning into more calories, but more importantly, that is turning into inflammation or water weight, and your body's trying to heal from what you just ate. But absolutely, definitively, it is not calories in versus calories out. For weight gain, weight loss, the vast majority of it is just water weight, and that fluctuates constantly, especially if you're a woman with hormonal issues. Number 6 is that you're probably just not eating enough. This is a very damaging type of thing to say because it makes you think that you're not eating enough calories, which is just not the case. The reality is, if you have a lot of body fat on your body, you want your body to eat that fat that's on your body. So if anything, you want to cut the calories, but more importantly, get rid of the inflammation and feed the gut microbiome, because that's what will lead to consistent weight loss. If you are eating that little bit of food and it's turning into a lot of weight, that makes it really defeating when you're trying to lose body fat and you're actually on a diet. What instead, the saying should be, you're probably not eating enough nutrient-dense whole foods that feed the gut microbiome. It's just that is way too long to say. It doesn't sound as sexy. So if you want to say that in a sexier way, just say, I want to eat the fruits, because I don't know, I became French, but if you eat more whole fruits, that is by far the most effective thing you could do, because it has something called soluble and insoluble fiber. If you were to eat more soluble and insoluble fiber in the form of whole fruits, that is going to slow the absorption of sugar, cholesterol, and fat. If you can slow the absorption of sugar, you prevent a blood sugar spike. If you prevent that blood sugar spike, you also prevent an insulin spike. If you're not spiking your insulin, then you're gonna feel very full on fewer calories, but more importantly, it is gonna be really freaking easy to lose body fat. So if you wanna lose weight, eat more nutrient-dense whole foods. Number 5 is that high protein is best for women. And although this is technically true, if you are an athlete and you are trying to get bigger and stronger, then you should be stuffing your face with protein. It is by far the most effective thing you can do, because that will send you into an anabolic state. If, though, your goal is to get smaller and stronger, you don't have to worry about protein at all. And I'm not saying that you have to eat no protein. Like, it'd be really hard to eat no protein. I don't even know how you could do it. Like, you'd have to eat, like, nothing but syrup, because it'd have to be pure sugar. Protein isn't everything. You are not going to eat a no-protein diet. You're going to get protein in your diet even if you don't try to. There's only one thing that will help you get smaller and stronger, though, and it is not eating more protein. Are you ready for this? It is something called mechanical tension. This is essentially resistance training for the muscle that stimulates you to get stronger and, more importantly, build muscle. There's no amount of protein you can eat that will actually synthesize muscle growth if you don't have that mechanical tension. So all you need to do is do strength training at least twice a week, where you push yourself, not to the point of dying, just to the point where you get a good workout, and then you don't have to worry about all the rest of the protein, because you'll get smaller and stronger. Myth number 4 is that weight loss is hard. This is only true if you believe it's true. And this is not some type of woo thing. I'm not going to say that like, oh, if only weight loss was easy, now it'll be easy. No, I'm saying that if you believe it's hard, you're going to look for hard ways of losing weight. Like, counting calories, tracking your macronutrients, doing meal prep every single day. Like, although that works, those are short-term fixes. If you want long-term results, you have to stop looking for hard ways of losing weight. If instead you used your intelligence to your advantage, you're gonna look for really freaking easy ways of losing weight. Like, just imagine, you like eating raspberries. Do you know how many calories are in a raspberry? One calorie in a raspberry. You could literally eat 100 raspberries as half of your meals. You're gonna be stuffed to the gills. You're only gonna have 100 calories, but more importantly, that's gonna create a massive calorie deficit, and that is gonna get rid of that inflammation, so you consistently lose body fat. Look at that, I'm giving you some of the good stuff, and you didn't even pay me. You have to think of easy ways of losing weight, and you will actually lose weight. Weight loss is not hard. I promise you, it is not hard once you start looking for the easy route. Myth number 3 is that you should fast according to your monthly cycle, or that fasting is bad for your hormones. This has some truth to it if you are fasting past 48 hours. If you're fasting past 48 hours, your risk for losing muscle and damaging your hormones goes up exponentially. The vast majority of fasting, though, is totally fine. Why? Because when you're fasting, you are not eating. And if you are not eating, your body is forced to eat what's on your body. But more importantly, fasting is actually very metabolically healthy, especially if you are a woman with insulin resistance. Why? Because when you are doing fasting the right way, your liver is going to regulate your blood sugar. And if your liver regulates your blood sugar, it is going to be perfect. If you have perfect blood sugar, you are going to have perfect insulin. If you have perfect insulin, you are going to be ripping toxic visceral fat off of your liver and off your pancreas. That means you're going to make losing body fat really freaking easy if you fast in the right way. So what is the way that you fast in the right way? You want to have 3 things. 1, you want to have a nutrient-dense food for the last meal of the day. That's what I was talking about with having the raspberries. It's a good example. 2, you want to make sure you have salt. If you don't have salt, you can get very lightheaded while you're fasting. And a lot of women will confuse this with low blood sugar, because when you don't eat and then you're getting kind of lightheaded and you eat something, you feel like you get a pick-me-up. What's actually happening is you have a low blood volume, and that is leading to lightheadedness. Essentially, your body's not transporting enough oxygen. And by having more salt, you have a higher blood volume, blood transports oxygen, and that prevents you from getting dizzy. So if you're a woman that gets lightheaded while you're fasting, you might just have to have more salt. My favorite way of getting this in is to have no sugar added bone broth. It's a natural way. It's freaking delicious. Doesn't make you fat. But more importantly, add salt to your diet in a way that will actually replenish those electrolytes. And then the last thing that you want to do before you actually go on this fast is you want to have complex carbohydrates. The reason why you want to have complex carbohydrates, you just need like 2 tablespoons. You don't need a crazy amount. Good examples could be like sweet potato, it could be like quinoa, it could be like, there's like 1 million, just Google it. There's 1 million types of complex carbs you could have. But what that's gonna do is gonna slowly enter your bloodstream. If you have these slow blips in your blood sugar, as your blood sugar is slowly being regulated by your liver, then even if you're a woman with insulin resistance, you never have a blood sugar crash. And this is exactly what happens when women are fasting, is they will start fasting and all of a sudden they go, whoa, I feel lightheaded. And then they will, if they don't have salt, they're gonna feel even worse. But if they have salt, they typically feel better. But more importantly, if you get shaky and sweaty, you're actually getting really freaking hungry. What's happening is your hormonal system is just expecting you to eat. And if you do not eat, it's actually releasing insulin. And if you have your insulin being released, you're gonna feel a blood sugar crash, even if it's in a normal range. Like if you go from high blood sugar to normal blood sugar, and you feel that crash, you feel like you can eat everything in sight. So in order to prevent that crash, all you have to do is have a complex carbohydrate, eat a nutrient-dense food, and make sure you have salt, and the fasting will work wonders. It works for about 25% of my clients. It might work for you. The only way to know is to test it. Myth number 2 is that coffee raises cortisol. And this is true in the sense that a stimulant will stimulate your energy-producing hormones like cortisol, but it doesn't actually lead to higher levels of cortisol. It just determines when the cortisol is raised. So you can actually use this to your advantage. So one of the coolest things, I'm getting all excited here. One of the coolest things you could do is strategically use your stimulants. So if you're a woman that's having coffee, the only reason it would mess you up is if you're not having the coffee at the same time 7 days a week. The reason why you want to have it at the same time 7 days a week is because your hormonal system will predict when you're going to have that coffee. AKA is going to predict when you're going to release cortisol, but more importantly, when to metabolize that cortisol. So coffee is not bad for women. I freaking love coffee. If you're someone that tolerates caffeine well, just make sure you have it at the same time 7 days a week, and your cortisol will actually be more balanced. And the number one myth that stops women from actually losing the body fat and keeping it off is that fruits will make you fat. This is going to drive me up a freaking wall, because this is something you don't have to trust me on. You could just try it. Try to eat nothing but whole fruits for 3 days. I promise you, you will be down in weight, you will be down in inflammation, and you will become a believer that whole fruits are the number one food on the planet for helping women lose body fat. Why? Because they have soluble, insoluble fiber. They slow the absorption of sugar, cholesterol, and fat. They have something called anti-obesity effects, and they will physically change your cravings. So especially if you're a woman with insulin resistance, it is one of the best foods you can eat. I actually have a full protocol you can find on my profile. It's the very first video I uploaded. You can go find that. You can download the list of 100 plus whole fruits that work for this, and I can give you the whole protocol for free. Just go to my YouTube channel and you can find that. And one more thing before you go. If you actually want to melt that stubborn arm and belly fat, but you don't want to count calories and you don't want to take supplements, I have a full program that is guaranteed to work. No counting calories, no taking supplements. But if you follow my full program and it doesn't work, I will give you a full 100% refund, plus pay you an additional $2,000 cash back on top of the full refund if it doesn't work. Spoiler alert, it works. That's why I can offer that guarantee. And quite frankly, we have too many women applying for my full program. So instead, what I'm doing is I'm just doing a live stream where I break down the exact system that the women in my program follow. That way, you will know if it's the right system for you, or at the very least, you can learn how to balance your hormones and melt that belly fat in the easiest possible way. That link to that live stream will be in the description of this video. Just click it, register. Hope to see you there. Love you all. Subscribe. See you later.